Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Jung's line becomes real the moment your mouth forms a clean no. An energetic boundary drags an invisible contract into daylight, and daylight is inconvenient for people who relied on your fawn reflex or your automatic yes. When they slip away, it hurts. In Jungian language, the persona, the good child, the rescuer, the therapist friend, began as a brilliant survival strategy. It kept peace in rooms where authenticity felt dangerous. Over time, a mask becomes a cage. A boundary loosens the bars. Your energy shifts from appeasing others to belonging to yourself, and the system around you wobbles. Some say you changed. Really, the choreography that kept their needs centered has changed. Boundaries are a love language and a sorting mechanism. They protect your time, body, and attention, and they reveal who can meet you without exploiting you. Individuation, the lifelong becoming of who you truly are, requires this tension. You can feel guilty and still be right. You can love someone and still limit access. That stretch is why the first wave often looks like silence. Consider Celine. Eldest of three and translator of everyone's weather, she learned calm by preemptively solving problems. As an adult she said yes before anyone asked, stayed late, paid the bill, softened the truth. After months of therapy and a brave mirror conversation, she practiced a sentence that felt like lifting granite: I'm not available for conversations about my body or my dating life. She told her mother, voice shaking. The reply was a week of silence, then clipped messages about duty. The air thinned, she felt abandoned and, strangely, relieved. In the quiet, something settled. The world hadn't ended, only a projection had. In Jung's terms, projection means seeing disowned material in another person. Celine's mother had long projected anxiety and control onto her daughter's choices. When Celine set the boundary, she withdrew the screen her mother used to play out old fears. With nowhere to land, the drama destabilized, and distance followed. Boundaries also awaken complexes, emotionally charged clusters formed by early experience. Your good child complex may equate no with danger. Someone else's abandonment complex may translate your no as betrayal. When two complexes collide, the room fills with ghosts. Naming this spares you unearned shame. You are not cruel, you are interrupting a trance. If you are grieving, you are sane. You are not only grieving people, you are grieving costumes, the rescuer cape and diplomat smile, that once kept you loved. Offer yourself tenderness. Say, of course this hurts. Say, I'm not broken, I'm awakening. Psychologically, you are in liminality, the in-between where the old persona no longer fits and the new life is not yet formed. Energetically, boundaries tune your field. Think of your aura as a sacred membrane. When you declare what can enter, coherence increases. Misaligned dynamics cannot lock in because the signal no longer matches. The disappearing act is resonance sorting itself. This isn't superiority, it's hygiene. Clear energy attracts clear relationships. How do you sit with silence without running back into self-abandonment? Use clean language. That doesn't work for me. Here's what does. If guilt rises, remember, guilt guards old agreements, not truth. Feel it and keep walking. Your worth is not a group project. Expect pushback. When you retire the fixer role, those who built comfort on your overfunctioning may escalate before recalibrating. Translate selfish as, I miss the version of you who carried more than your share. Meet the grief with empathy without shrinking. Love doesn't require self-erasure. Affirm with me, I honor my sacred no, my energy is holy ground. If that lands, type boundary in the comments so others know they're not alone. Celine's story did not end with estrangement. After a month of holding the line, her mother texted, I want a relationship. Teach me what is respectful. Because the boundary came first, repair could be real. They spoke in shorter calls with clearer edges. Celine learned that love without boundaries is caretaking, love with boundaries is devotion. Remember another Jungian invitation, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. If people disappear, trust that life is making room. In their place comes quiet, and in the quiet, guidance. Keep this reframe close, their silence is data, your boundary is devotion. One more promise for your nervous system, the emptiness after a boundary is temporary. What remains becomes deeper. What arrives will meet you as you are, not as a role. Keep choosing the relationship where you are also included, your relationship with you. When the wobble returns, breathe, hand over heart, and repeat, I choose alignment over approval. I am safe to be seen. Why do boundaries make people vanish? Because boundaries change the psychic economy. Before, your energy subsidized others' anxieties, expectations, and shadows. After, you stop funding the old system. When a resource dries up, certain species leave, relationships behave the same. Their departure isn't proof you're unlovable, it's proof you stopped being a fuel source for dynamics that required your compliance. Jung offers a precise map. Start with shadow and projection. People carry disowned traits, anger, helplessness, envy, and project them onto a receptive screen. If your persona was peacemaker or savior, you became that screen. Shadow work pulls the projection cord. When you own anger as sacred fire and tenderness as strength, others can no longer hang their unlived life on you. The image collapses, and with it the story that kept imbalance alive. Distance follows because what related to you as a role can't recognize you as a person. Next, the ego, self-axis, the living line between everyday identity and the deeper organizing center Jung called the self. Over-accommodating bends the axis toward others' needs. Boundaries straighten it. Priorities reorder, truth over role, alignment over approval. People calibrated to the older tilt feel disoriented, like dancers who practiced choreography you no longer perform. Some adapt, some exit. Exits reveal readiness, not your worth. Consider the persona. Jung never demonized it, we need a functional social mask. Trouble begins when the mask becomes the face. The nice at all costs persona hides resentment to remain acceptable. Boundaries deflate that inflation. At first there's a wobble. Eventually you land where your feet feel ground. From that ground, relationships become simpler. Does this honor who I am, or only who I was trained to be? Complexes add electricity. A complex is an emotionally charged cluster formed by past experience. Your boundary can activate someone's abandonment complex. Your no feels like desertion. Likewise, your good child complex may interpret a frown as punishment. Two complexes, suddenly awake, begin to argue through your bodies. Naming this, my complex is online, lets you step out of the trance and respond. Two quick laws clarify the chaos. Projection withdrawal. When you stop supplying the mirror, people must meet themselves, distance appears. Energetic equivalence. The more energy you reclaim, the more relationships must contribute rather than consume. Any bond that depended on your exhaustion may label your clarity as cruelty. It isn't. What if you're overreacting? Check the body. A boundary born from fear contracts and isolates. A boundary born from self feels clean, regretless, surprisingly warm. You might grieve and still sense rightness. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Owning the part that pleased at any cost is part of that darkness. Your boundary becomes a lantern out of self-abandonment. And guilt? Treat guilt as the echo of broken agreements that were never fair. You agreed to be available, to explain yourself, to absorb moods. When you revoke those terms, the psyche alarms. Good sign. The alarm quiets as your system learns that safety can exist without self-erasure. Practice. I can feel guilt and remain loyal to truth. Repetition strengthens the ego, self-access like a rehabilitated muscle. Over time, guilt becomes information, not instruction. Engagement matters because isolation feeds doubt. In the comments, name the role you're retiring: fixer, comedian, golden child, therapist friend, invisible one. Speaking it breaks the spell. With a dynamic in other clothes. Imagine Orion, a generous friend who always picks up calls at midnight. He starts saying, "I'm available tomorrow." Two people stop calling. Another asks, "When works for you?" They were participants in a system sustained by Orion's exhaustion. His boundary revealed the architecture. Now he builds friendships with doors and windows, quieter, slower, more honest than crisis management. Reframe hard talks: "I'm not withholding, I'm precise." Precision loves reality. It frees others to own their needs and frees you to trust your pace. The self prefers clear edges because transformation requires a safe container. Your boundary is that container. Keeping it teaches people how to treat you, and themselves. For the inner critic, remember another compass: the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Acceptance ends the audition for worth. When self-war ends, you stop outsourcing value to unpredictable weather and other people. Peace becomes more native. Decisions arise from inner authority rather than external audition. Affirm now: I release roles that cost me myself. I choose resonance over performance. If it lands, write "I release" below. Practice makes boundaries ordinary. Hold this as we shift into spiritual physics: how your field, your aura, and the temenos reorganize reality. Boundaries don't end relationships, they end illusions. What remains can meet you. What leaves could not. You are allowed to evolve. What happens in the unseen when you say no? Picture your energy field as living architecture. A healthy boundary isn't a fortress, it's a breathing membrane. When that membrane firms, relationships meet you at clear edges. This is the spiritual physics of boundaries. Coherence replaces leakage, and resonance reorganizes your world. Jung named the safe container of transformation the temenos, a set-apart precinct. Psychologically, it's the inner room where truth can rise without interruption. Each time you state a boundary, you brighten the circle and declare, inside this circle, I am honest. Coherence is inner alignment. Before boundaries, the signal blurs: speak yes, feel no, appear helpful, simmer resentful. Clear boundaries tune the signal. Your aura stops sending mixed messages. Those who required you fuzzy drift away, not as punishment but because the station they followed is no longer on air. This is hygiene, not elitism. Plants prefer healthy soil, relationships prefer healthy fields. When your field is coherent, reciprocity becomes default. Without it, you negotiate for crumbs. The chosen one narrative isn't superiority, it is responsibility, to steward your frequency and become a clear note in a noisy room. Jung would call that clear note the pull of the self. As ego aligns with self, you experience conjunction, the inner marriage of qualities once split, strength with tenderness, clarity with warmth. Boundaries are where that union becomes visible. The sacred no keeps the union sovereign. Celine felt this union. Weeks after holding her line with her mother, migraines eased and mood steadied. She lit a candle, wrote values, truth, rest, reciprocity, creativity, and placed the card under a stone. "This is my circle," she whispered. Calls shortened, conversations deepened, old static receded. Synchronicity, Jung's acausal connecting principle, often follows coherence. Close one door with a boundary and another knocks, an email, a meeting, a book that falls. Life loves an uncluttered altar. Example, the week Celine declined an unplanned gathering, a mentor wrote, "I need someone who protects time boundaries." Old Celine would have overfunctioned for affection and cancelled opportunities. Protecting her temenos drew work aligned with that protection. Synchronicity mirrors the principle you live. This reframes disappearance as devotion. People who step back are teaching you who they are without your scaffolding. Bless them and keep your circle bright. When blame rises, remember biology. Boundaries ask your system to do something new. Stay open while staying separate. Co-regulate with breath or a short walk. The temple is your body first. Grow coherence with small repetitions. Honor one bedtime. Answer one message tomorrow. Eat one meal without multitasking. Each act tells your field, "You can trust me." Integrity is energetic glue. Over time the aura thickens from gauze to silk to shield, supple enough to let in rain and keep out the storm. Language helps. "I'm not available for that topic." "I'm happy to discuss travel plans." "I won't be attending." Wishing you a beautiful event. Clean sentences end tangles. Were you offered essays? Offer clarity. Stand at your doorway and decide who may enter. Roles dissolve in the temenos. The rescuer and golden child can visit, but they no longer run the sanctuary. When they try, use active imagination, let the part speak, thank it, give a new job, guard sleep, keep sentences short. The temenos is not exclusion, it is reassignment. There is grief in becoming coherent. You may miss the noise you mistook for closeness and the adrenaline of crisis management. This is the valley between masks and truth. Walk it with companions. In the comments, write temenos if you're claiming your sacred circle. Paradox: the clearer your edges, the softer your heart. Safety allows generosity without being devoured. The sacred no makes a trustworthy yes. Partners and friends relax knowing their yes means yes. Ground the mystic. Coherence looks like calendar blocks you respect, money conversations you initiate, pauses before yes, nourishment over numbness, deleting over explanations, and leaving rooms where gossip tightens your chest. You might scan for error. "If I were more healed, people wouldn't leave." Not true. Individuation differentiates. The self doesn't audition for belonging, it creates belonging by being exact. Trust the intelligent pruning at work. Forests drop branches so sunlight reaches the understory. Your life is learning the same choreography. Affirm with me, "My energy is holy ground. My boundaries are devotional. I choose resonance over approval." If it resonates, type temenos so the circle grows visible to those still in the fog. Invite a friend. Be each other's accountability for 7 days of clear boundaries. Remember, clarity is kindness. Coherence invites reciprocity and protects your sacred pace today, always. Place a hand on your heart and whisper, "I am safe to be seen." That is the altar. Keep it lit as we translate spirit into practice next. Boundaries become real the moment your lips move. Insight without language keeps you looping in theory, but a single clean sentence can reset the room. This section translates Jungian insight into practice, scripts that protect your energy, a nervous system ritual to steady your voice, and a way to speak with the parts that still panic when you say no. Begin with orientation. A boundary is not a weapon, it is a description of reality. Here's what I will and won't participate in. Brevity is kindness. If you feel compelled to over-explain, that's the good child complex asking for permission it no longer needs. Place a hand on your chest and remind it, we are allowed to choose. Now, 3 adaptable scripts. Try them word for word first, later add your cadence. Script 1, Topic Guard. I'm not available for that topic. If we can't change it, I'll step away. Use with criticism loops, body commentary, or gossip. Script 2, Time Sovereignty. I decide how I use my time. I'm choosing rest tonight. Choosing rest is a complete sentence. Script 3, Boundary plus option. That doesn't work for me. Here's what does. You are not stonewalling, you are stewarding. Before any script, regulate. Your nervous system is the instrument, tune it. Use this mini protocol to downshift from fawn or freeze into steady presence. 1. Orient, turn your head and name 3 neutral objects. 2. Breathe, inhale 4, exhale 6, 5 cycles. 3. Feel your feet and seat. 4. Imagine warm light tracing your skin. 5. Rehearse once, softly. If emotion surges while you speak, let it. Tears don't invalidate truth. Shaking is energy leaving the body. Keep sentences short. Periods are spiritual technology. Ritual can anchor the psychological. For 7 evenings, draw a small circle on paper. Inside, write values you welcome. Outside, write what you're releasing. Place a glass of water on the page and pour it into a plant in the morning. Practice transfer, from body to soil. Active imagination brings Jung's work from page to pulse. Close your eyes and invite the part that fears boundaries, the pleaser, the diplomat, the silent one. Ask, what are you protecting me from? Listen without debate. Thank it for its service. Offer a new job, guard my sleep. Remind me to breathe. Help me keep the script short. When the part agrees, imagine handing it a badge. This is complex deactivation, relocating charge to the present. Persona reset comes next. The nice at all costs mask once kept you safe, now it suffocates truth. Replace it with a living persona, kind and boundaried. Write 2 columns, old mask versus authentic. For each old behavior, design a small replacement. Aim for repetition, not perfection. Let's humanize this with Eliza. Raised by a charismatic father who praised sacrifice, she internalized a role, radiant giver. When work deadlines collided with his last-minute requests, she used script 3, that doesn't work for me. Here's what does, Sunday at 2. He called her selfish, then went silent for 6 days. Eliza ran the mini protocol, journaled, I can feel guilt and remain loyal to truth, and waited. On day 7 he wrote, Sunday works. She felt shaky, and proud. Expect testing. Systems seek equilibrium. When people try the old door and find it locked, they may jiggle the handle harder. That's information. Hold the line kindly. If a conversation escalates, step back. I'm willing to talk when we can both be respectful. Respect is a condition of access, not a prize you earn by shrinking. Add microscripts for common traps. Advice givers, thanks for caring. I'm not looking for advice. Money, I don't lend money. Late night, phone off at 9, I'll respond tomorrow. Guilt, I hear you're disappointed. My decision stands. Community dissolves shame. In the comments, choose which script you'll use first, 1, 2, or 3, and write the number. Then say it aloud once. Your voice teaches your body that you are on your own side. If you want accountability, invite a friend to a 7-day boundary challenge. 1 clear sentence per day, reported with a check mark. Affirm with breath, I can be loving and firm. My no protects my yes. I release roles that cost me myself. If you freeze mid-sentence, pause, breathe, and start again from your boundary line. Repetition builds fluency. Your mouth learns safety through use, not perfection today. As you practice, expect quieter drama and deeper connection. People prepared for reciprocity will adjust. Those invested in your exhaustion may drift. Let them. You're not punishing, you're pruning. What remains will be real, and what arrives will meet you. We're ready to integrate the grief, the gains, and the community that sustains the new pattern. Practice daily, small repetitions become steady, compassionate power within. Integration begins when you stop arguing with reality and start honoring your rhythm. Boundaries disrupt familiar choreography, and empty chairs can feel like failures. They are not. They confirm individuation is underway. Jung called individuation the process by which a person becomes an individual, a separate, indivisible unity. Your sacred no is the seam holding that unity together. You aren't losing people, you're losing patterns that could not survive your honesty. Let's normalize grief. Even when a relationship was exhausting, absence can ache. You grieve the fantasy of who they might become, the imagined moment they would finally see you, and the years you wore a mask to keep the peace. Place a hand on your heart and say, of course this hurts. Grief isn't proof you were wrong, it's proof you were attached. The self doesn't banish attachment, it redeems it by asking for truth. From a Jungian lens, this is holding the tension of opposites, love and limit, compassion and consequence, belonging and sovereignty. The immature psyche picks a side. The maturing psyche learns to sit between them until a third way emerges. Boundaries are that middle place, the temenos where new patterns incubate. Give them time. Your nervous system, like a snow globe, needs stillness to settle. Cancel non-essentials, take slow walks, and let silence reset habits shaped by urgency and approval. Here is a simple rhythm this week. Morning, speak 3 sentences aloud. I am safe to be seen. My boundaries are sacred. I choose alignment over approval. Midday, 1 honest no or 1 precise yes. Evening, a short check-in. Where did I abandon myself? Where did I stay? The goal isn't perfection, the goal is coherence. Now, the 7-day boundary challenge to anchor this season. Day 1, write your core values and post one in the comments to witness yourself. Day 2, use script 1 with someone who drifts into forbidden topics. Day 3, protect 90 minutes for restorative solitude. Day 4, practice money clarity, name a limit, a rate, or a budget without apology. Day 5, repair with truth, redo a tangled conversation in 2 clean sentences. Day 6, close the door, no texts after 9, notice the peace. Day 7, bless and release, write a goodbye letter you won't send, thank the lesson and reclaim your time. Return weekly to your rhythm. Track 1 boundary you kept, 1 you missed, and 1 you repaired. Celebrate micro-wins. Small repetitions rewire identity, coherence becomes your resting state. Your life will feel simpler, deeper, steadier than before. Community turns private courage into shared culture. Algorithms favor engagement, souls favor belonging. Comment I choose alignment to mark your threshold and help the message travel to people still doubting their no. Tell us 1 pattern you're retiring, fixer, therapist friend, golden child, or invisible one, so we can echo back, we see you. If a line opened a window for you, share this with 1 person who needs relief today. You may wonder, what if someone returns? Let them meet the you who learned to stay with yourself. Offer access that matches behavior, not promises. Ask for their boundaries too. Mutual clarity is intimacy, not distance. When both people are anchored, love becomes sturdier than nostalgia. If reconciliation never comes, you can still complete the bond within your psyche by owning rejected parts and blessing the road behind you. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, Jung observed. Acceptance ends the audition for worth. When the audition ends, your calendar, bank account, and body feel different. You stop paying the tax of people-pleasing. You invest in sleep, nourishment, and work that respect your edges. Life responds. Synchronicities cluster. Invitations align with your pace. Peace stops being a weekend destination and becomes the weather inside your chest. Before we close, breathe into an empowerment declaration. Speak it slowly. I am devoted to truth. I honor my sacred no. I call on relationships that honor my soul. If you want accountability, type those lines below and read what others write. This is how we build a village, sentence by sentence, boundary by boundary. For deeper practice, save this, turn on notifications, and join our live Q&A on divine feminine boundaries next week. Bring questions on family holidays, work politics, money, and boundary dating. We'll rehearse scripts together and celebrate your wins. Finally, walk forward with this reframe: silence after a boundary isn't emptiness, it's spaciousness. Space is where guidance lives. In spaciousness you hear prompts: create, rest, apply, forgive, begin. Trust that life arranged around truth will be fewer in number and deeper in quality. Fewer texts, deeper presence. Slower weekends, better sleep. Not a lonelier life, a truer one.